Ryan Phillips from Bold Music here, coming at you with this sweet guitar. Shout out to my girlfriend for letting me borrow her guitar. I love it. I'm going to tell you 4 chords on guitar. Probably the 4 most common chords, 4 most used chords, and the progression to put them all together. Now, if you check out the article, there are chord charts on every one of these chords, so I'm not going to go into how to play them as much as I'm going to go into tips and tricks on how to make it sound a little bit better and some practice techniques so you can get to playing a lot quicker. And then at the end, I'm going to show you putting them all together. All right, so the first chord in that chord progression is the G major chord. And the G major chord is the root to this whole chord progression. And it sounds like this. Nice, pretty, beautiful. Yes. That one is your ring finger on the 3rd fret. That's the G note. Your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the A string, the next string up. And then your pinky comes up here on the 3rd fret as well, but on the highest E string. Everything else is open. So as you play it, you'll notice every single string is being hit. If you notice that one of them isn't being hit, it's because your finger might be muting it. If you find that one of those sounds doesn't happen, look at your fingers and try the best you can to use the claw method. The claw method is instead of laying your fingers flat over the fretboard, you are turning them so they're going perpendicular against the fretboard, trying to hit at the tips of your fingers. And I'm not sure if you can see this in there, but on the very tips of my fingers is where my fingers are coming down on the strings. Just like that. Your thumb in the back has some flexibility. It can come up a little bit. You want to try to keep it at the top of the back of the neck, and you want to try to keep it as vertical as you can. If you feel more comfortable gripping it a little bit, try to stay away from it, but know that that's okay. It's a different method of playing. My thumb typically hangs out right about here, peeking over the side like it's saying hello to everyone, right about at that 2nd fret. All right, practice that one a little bit, then move on to the next chord, which is the D chord. Another pretty major chord. So first G, now to D, and that's the 1 to the 5. The D chord might be a little bit more difficult to start with because we're not playing the first 2 strings, E and A. We're not playing them at all. So you start on the D note, hence the name D chord. All right, so if you start on the D chord, or you start on the D note, excuse me, play it all the way through. Sounds like that. And as a frame of reference, you're making an upside down triangle at the very end of the guitar neck. Check out the chord charts to know how to play it a little better, but a quick explanation. Middle finger 2nd fret on the highest string, middle finger 2nd fret. Then ring finger 3rd fret on the B string, and your first finger, pointer finger on the 2nd fret of the G string. So in order, that's 2, 3, 2. And you're playing the open D as well, not the A or the E. So it's going to sound like this when you play it right. Maybe more about like this. That sounds better. If you're finding that it's getting muted, I suggest you look at your pointer finger. Your pointer finger is probably the one causing the muting. Really try to get that claw method as much as possible. Position your thumb at the middle of the back of the neck. If it feels more comfortable to raise it up a little bit to get that pressure, go ahead and do it, but focus really on trying to keep that thumb right at the middle, a little bit higher, and not mute anything. Easier said than done. With some practice, you'll get it. Next chord we're going to move on to is the E minor chord. First minor chord sounds a little spooky and adds a nice contrast to the major chords. This chord's a little bit easier, so if it makes you feel better, play this one a little bit more, practice this one a little bit more so you can get some confidence going into the other ones. This one is all the strings open on the first one, 2nd fret on the 2nd string, or the, 5th string, but in this case 2nd, and then 2nd on the next string above that. So that is open, 2, 2, and every other one open. And it's going to sound like this when you play it right. All right, last but not least, the C major chord. So it starts similar to the G chord, but we start an extra string higher. Remember, we're not playing this first string right here. So we're starting 3rd fret and 2nd fret, your ring finger and your middle finger. And the tricky one right here is you're not playing the last string, you're not pushing on the last string, you are pushing the 1st fret of the B string, the 2nd string up here. Every other one, except for the 1st one, is open. So what I mean by that is hitting that 3rd fret, 2nd fret, open, 1st fret, open. Now your thumb on this one is going to have a tendency to slide this way. Try to correct as much as you can and get that support in the back. Sometimes it feels more comfortable. I do this a lot. I wrap my thumb around. It's not a good practice for a lot of these open chords, but it can help you start to incorporate some new styles of playing. But to start with, really try to focus on having that thumb just peek over the top, get some good pressure on the back end, and come through nice and pretty like that. Keep practicing it. Keep practicing like that. And once you get that one down, you can combine all 4 in the order we talked about. The 1, 5, 6, 4. That's the G, to the D, to the E minor, to the C. And all together one time, it sounds like this. Don't worry if the transitions are a little bit hard from each chord. Even me, with all my experience today, sometimes it can be a little bit difficult with these specific chords. But don't worry. Keep practicing. Keep focusing on playing each chord wholly, not missing any notes. And then you can start practicing on the transition to the next chord. Thanks for watching.